So last week, I was seeing a lot of headlines like this. I tried to ignore it, but obviously I can't, hence why I'm doing this segment now. Bernie Sanders voters helped Trump win, and here's proof. So this is attempt number 400 to smear progressives and make them fall in line for corporate Democrats. It's punching left, shaming people to your left. Say, oh, come on, Bernie Sanders voters. Look at what you did. You put Trump in the White House. And there's proof. There's proof, guys. There's proof. So this is an analysis, and they found that 12% of Bernie voters went for Donald Trump in the general. Oh, so that appears to be game, set, match, pound the gavel. That's it, right? That's it. That's the fact. That's the only fact you need. It puts everything in perspective. 12% of Bernie voters voted for Trump. So blame the goddamn Bernie voters for why we have Donald Trump. Except there's one problem with that. Let's give you the context that's lacking there. Look at this. So look at the smaller tweet there. That's David Duell. And he says, last night, Bill Maher stated that 12% of Bernie voters voted Trump. Without mentioning vast majority of the 12% were Republicans prior to 2016. And then Humanist Report, Mike from Humanist Report says this. I'm sure he also ignored that 1 in 4 Clinton voters went for McCain in 2008, almost all of which were Dem identified. Damn. So do you understand what's happening there? And this is the only way corporate Democrats can attack Bernie Sanders, because they can't actually defeat him on the issues, and they can't actually defeat him based on the facts. So what do? You smear. You smear. You obfuscate, you deflect, you mislead, and you smear. So when you say something like that, like, oh, 12% of Bernie voters went for Hillary Clinton. Went for Donald Trump and not Hillary Clinton. People go, oh my goodness, those darned Bernie voters. Look, the liberal purists were so pure that they said I couldn't vote for Hillary, I must vote for Donald Trump, which, by the way, that doesn't seem to make much sense now, does it? Of course it doesn't make sense. Because when you dig deeper, you find out these are people that the vast majority of the 12% were Republicans prior to 2016. So what does that mean? That means these are conservative voters that Bernie Sanders was able to get. So in other words, Bernie Sanders gets the progressive base, and he gets many conservative voters to cross over and vote for him. So in other words, you take a strength of Bernie Sanders that proves he would have been a better general election candidate to beat Donald Trump. You take a strength of Bernie and his supporters, and you flip it and turn it into a negative. You attack the strength and make it a negative. And you turn it into a pearl-clutching moment of, oh my God, Bernie Sanders and his supporters put Donald Trump in the White House. When the real story here is Bernie Sanders was able to get crossover right-wing voters who would have stuck with him in a general, which would have been why hashtag Bernie would have won, and he would have beat Donald Trump. So take a positive, turn it into a negative. Take something that's a strength for Bernie and his supporters, that he has broad appeal, turn it into a negative and act like, oh my God, they're the reason that Hillary Clinton lost. And by the way, even if this wasn't the case, that they were crossover voters who were conservative, which shows the strength of Bernie Sanders, if anything, but even if that wasn't the case, even if it was the liberal base who had said, you know what, yeah, we're going to cross over and vote for Trump now. Still, wouldn't that be evidence of Hillary Clinton being such a horrendous candidate that the solution would be, hey man, we need to run a better Democratic candidate? Notice in the mind of Bill Maher and other people who agree with him, and many corporate Democrats, they always act like it's those fucking shitty voters that failed the Democratic politicians. It's never that the Democratic politicians fail the shitty voters. Well, they wouldn't be shitty voters. They would just be voters. It's never that the Democratic politicians fail the voters. It's that in their mind, they say, oh, the shitty voters failed the Democratic politicians. Well, no, maybe you should be a better candidate who stands for things that are inspiring that can get people out there to actually fucking vote for you. So even if it was that 12% that flipped to Trump were in the Democratic base, the answer is not shame those people and say, how dare you? The answer is, man, Hillary was that bad that people felt like they wanted to flee her to go to this fucking reality star buffoon? So they don't have anything, guys. And by the way, they want to talk about... Then they'll turn around, they'll lose in 2018, and they'll turn around and say, I can't believe we lost. Why did we lose? This is unbelievable. Well, you're doing it right now. This is why you fucking lose. Because you try to take any little nugget of information you can, mislead about it to the point where you're lying, smear, and then you get mad that the people you're smearing don't show up to vote for you the next time. Well, maybe you shouldn't have fucking smeared them. Maybe you should have given them something to vote for. Hey, here's a candidate who's unapologetically for Medicare for all, for free college, for ending the wars, for ending the drug war, for doing a New Deal, for taxing the rich. Somebody who actually wants to fight for things that matter. Somebody who will do things that will help the American people. If you run a candidate like that, well, then you can win. But you don't run candidates like that. You run shitty, mealy-mouthed corporate Democrats who are for 3% change, and then you berate people on the left and say, why don't you fall in line and vote for them? And then you shame them. Turns out that wasn't a fucking effective strategy because you tried it with Hillary and it didn't fucking work. And now you want to double down and do the same goddamn thing and mislead about the people who voted for Trump that had voted for Bernie. They weren't on the progressive base. They weren't. People on the progressive base either, most of them, by the way, actually did suck it up and go vote for Hillary. Some of them voted for Jill Stein, and some of them stayed home. Very, very few actually voted for Trump. So, but they can't win based on the facts. They can't win based on the power of their ideas, so they just smear. 12% of Bernie voters went for Trump. Yeah, but they were mostly conservative voters. So Bernie is such a popular politician, literally the most popular politician in America right now, that's what the polls show, that he was able to get the progressive base, of course, and he was able to get crossover right-wing voters. So you're taking a strength of Bernie, and you're trying to turn it into a negative, and you're trying to smear the Democratic base, and then you're going to get mad when people don't show up to vote for you. Well, look in the fucking mirror, because the problem isn't them. The problem is you.